Hello and welcome to a new episode of Education Founder Series. And today we have with us Mr. Vivek Varshney, who is the founder of Speedlabs. And so it's always an honor to have people like you with us who are transforming the way people learn and you enable them to do so much more. So before we get into the details, we would just like to spend a minute on your personal background and your professional life, how it has been, and if you could just throw some light on that.
Hi Saurabh and hi everyone. I belong to a business class small joint family in a town called Kasganj. This is in the western UP near Mathura. That's where I grew up. I was always excited about studies, did well in my school. I was also involved with my family business from very early class 8, and overall it was a great way to grow up where the overall balance was there and a lot of fun, like unlike today. I mean, when all the students are stuck with their laptops and mobiles, that time it was everything outdoor. After that, I went to IIT Kanpur, did my BTech in mechanical engineering, and joined career point as a physics faculty. I was teaching students who were preparing for engineering entrance exam, JEE. And after that, I did my MBA from IIM Lucknow, and have worked with investment banking, private equity, structured finance for about 10 years with Morgan Stanley, Deutsche, and ICICI Venture Funds, uh, where I was tracking education sector, logistics sector, infrastructure services across Southeast Asia, India, and was tracking the education sector very, very closely. Was involved in a couple of investments in the education space. So that was my professional journey. And then in 2016, I started with Speedlabs. And at Speedlabs, we are trying to build a full stack platform which is focused on hybrid education, and where we think that personalized education can help each and every student to achieve their full potential if you give them proper analytics, proper feedback, proper improvement areas, their gaps, give them proper insight about their own learning behavior. So that is the core thesis, and that's how I started Speed Labs in 2016.
Okay. So you talked about, how people are using devices for education, but in the recent times that has become more of a norm. So what are your views on these changes that have happened?
So, sort of, if we go back almost to 5, 6 years, 2015 was the time when India crossed the 20% penetration of internet. Okay, and for any growing society, once some of these thresholds are crossed, then there is a sudden acceptance towards tech-enabled services, whether it is education, whether it is healthcare, whether it is e-commerce, whether it is entertainment, travel, anything, right? So it's a internet becomes a great enabler for some of these fundamental shifts, and gradually the consumption behavior also changes. And the same has happened in education. So if you see, 6 years back, people were still very skeptical to attend a live class, but now entire country is running on live class. So some of these changes are forced changes due to COVID lockdown. Some of them were already happening slowly, but technology right now cannot be avoided in any aspect of life. And education technology brings a lot of positive things. Many effective and efficient approaches have been enabled in all segments, whether it is K-12, graduation level, or even at a professional learning. And I think this shift is non-reversible. We all have to adopt technology with all the positive aspects. And of course, there will be a few things where it will have side effects, but I think as a balance, it is going in the good direction.
So you briefly touched upon, how Speed Labs came into existence, but Was it more like a gradual thing, or at times we experience that one eureka moment where we think of some solutions, how they can enable people to do better? So if you could just touch upon how this complete idea was born, and a little more about Speed Labs.
Sure. So Speedlabs, if you think about it, there are two aspects of learning. One is lecture, which is where some teacher explains some theory, formula, concept, knowledge, and then there is a second aspect is self-study. And all of us will agree that most of the learning outcome is improved in the self-study. So self-study contributes almost 70% of the learning, right? If we revise well, if we practice well, if we analyze our mistakes, if we design our own plans to fix our gaps, that's where we can start achieving better academic outcome and also more strong conceptual understanding, right? So Speedlabs was always focused on the self-study, practice, analytics, feedback part. While lectures where we always believe that lectures are best delivered in the offline class, right? Whether it is in a school or offline tuitions or one-on-one home tuitions, right? Because you have to have full interaction, better engagement. All our communication is complete. There is a local mentoring, local monitoring, peer-to-peer learning. None of this is possible so effectively in a pure online class. But technology, where it can play a huge role in your improvement, is in this self-study side, which is the core of learning. 70% of the learning happens here, right? And this is where you can deploy technology. So that is the core idea of Speed Labs. We are empowering students between class 6 to 12 to learn better, do much better self study, practice on their own speed, get different questions for different students, adaptive practice based on their gaps. After the practice, you get proper insights, proper analytics. What was right, what was wrong, what was your speed, what was your attempt, what was your accuracy, which chapter you should study more, which chapter you are comfortable. In your exam, which chapter should be scoring for you. All of this analytics is possible if you are practicing on speed apps. And with this help, we have been able to help thousands of students and they have done much better than they expected. Their confidence has grown, their command on concepts has grown. So, I personally believe that just attending online class is not the solution. That's an incomplete solution, right? And that only works for top, decile, top 10% students. Those who are already motivated, who are brilliant, who are God gifted, okay, they can grasp everything from a pure online class. But if you talk to 90% of the students and their parents, none of them are happy because they are not getting the complete learning. Many of them are not even taking notes, so they are just watching it like a movie, right? So, and I mean, this problem is across. It is not a small town problem or a big town problem. Even in metro cities where the students are very comfortable with technology, but their concentration, their connect with the teacher in a pure online class is not working as good. So technology has both sides, right? At some places, we are forced to use it as a suboptimal way. In other aspects, we are underutilizing it, but it has much more power. So, Speedlabs as a product, our vision is that personalized education is the bridge between dreams and capabilities. If you can give proper insight to every student, then they can definitely, better in academics. Their confidence will be better. Their knowledge will be better. So that's the whole thesis.
So you spoke about self-study and personalized improvements, and also adaptive practices. So can you just throw some light on these attributes, like how important they are for kids to learn and grow, and possibly have an element outside the field of education also, how it can help a child grow in life as well, and also how Speedlab is enabling that, if you have something very specific to share with us.
Sure. So, just continuing from my previous point, now let's understand how do we practice. Okay. Suppose you want to practice a question, you will try yourself. And after your attempt is wrong, suppose you don't get the right answer, you will flip back the pages. You will try to find example, you will try to find formula, you will try to see some kind of hint. And you want to try again because you are learning, you are trying to practice, right? If your second attempt is also wrong, then you want to see the solution. You want to reverse learn, you want to see what was the mistake, did any calculation error, right? Now all these things we have built in Speedlabs so that every question you get a hint, every question you are allowed to take second attempt, every question you are getting full answer, detailed answer, so your time is not wasted. Okay, now adaptive learning means that you get questions in an order which is right for you based on your previous response. If you made a error, you get a similar question. If you got it right, you move to a different variety of question, right? And that's the right way of practicing. And at the end of it, you get all the analytics that okay, these 5 questions you should have done correct. Why don't you check your error, right? And based on that, if I give you assignment to make another 10 questions based on your error, so you will have different assignment, I will have different assignment. Right, old method where we used to do printed notes, xerox, etc., where we used to give same question to all the 20 students, that is not right. It is not helpful. Average student remains average. When you want to transform an average student to deliver extraordinary results, you have to get it personalized. And that's where the Speedlabs comes into the play. Even outside of education, once your marks start getting better, as a student, as a person, our confidence start getting better, right? You have to understand the impact of teenage life in overall life is extraordinarily, impactful. If you get few things right in your teenage, they are right for whole of your life. If you don't fix some of these things in the teenage, then you're always on the different track, right? So what are we saying? We are saying two things. First, as a student, we should do more self study. Okay, and because we that is the right habit that fixes a lot of gaps. Second, we are saying that we should use technology for self study so that it is personalized, it is adaptive, it is analytical, it is insightful. I get my gaps, I get my improvement plan, and that's the right way of doing it. And this habit is, life changing habit. Even if in our professional life, if we are used to of doing things ourselves, then we find out our ways in every problem. If we are always dependent on others, then we always keep seeking direction. We follow others' orders every time. Right? So, I mean, I believe that if these things are fixed early on in life, they have a huge impact throughout the career. But right now our focus is purely academic.
Okay, so talking about technology, and we all see daily what great things happen on the internet, how much it is enabling. But touching upon a very specific point, how important is the role of internet with respect to helping children learn and unlearn things outside the domain of schools?
So I think the last few years have been transformational in our country. The exposure is growing, and even the government is working in the same direction with the new education policy announcement in 2020. Everyone is realizing that the core curriculum, which was very traditional, like limited subjects, is not going to help in future. And that's where internet comes into the play, where some of these extra knowledge you can very easily get from internet. If somebody is passionate about coding, there are many courses available on the internet. There are many free resources available on YouTube. Okay, and you can learn whatever you want to learn outside of this scope of your school syllabus. Unlearning also helps in a way that if something you are not doing in the right manner, right? Not everyone can afford to get a personal coach to fix it. But if you have intent to fix your error, then there are many resources on internet which can help you, fix your issue or find the right way of doing things. So internet is going to become more and more important. And if you talk about it, in India right now, almost 65% people have access to internet, and that has been a great advantage for our country, because even in the rural areas education was possible because of internet. I'm not saying it was as good as offline. All I'm saying is that having internet even in the remotest areas at least allowed the students to continue their learning. And in terms of syllabus, we are undergoing as a society, as a country, we are undergoing a big change. And I hope that within next 3 to 4 years, our syllabuses are more aligned for making our students future ready. More options for everyone, whether it is technical, non-technical, creative, humanities, etc. And that's where I think, as a society, we can have more, diverse people. We can do more innovation, and internet always helps in every direction, to explore more.
Okay, so you explained how Speedlabs is enabling adaptive practices and how it is catering to the individual needs of children. But if you look at the virtual learning space at large, do you think that it has made education more inclusive and empowering students more than it could have otherwise?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without a doubt, internet is helping everyone. Now, if you think about it, a student who is living in a small village, okay, without internet, he just has access to that local ecosystem. Okay, so limited teachers, limited resources, limited infra. But with internet, that student can have access to the content designed by the best teachers in the country. Okay, that student can have access to the best study material designed by the best teachers. It can have access to the question papers of the best schools of the country, right? Because now the information is freely transferable. And what internet also allows us is the remote working. That reduces some of the pain points, because you cannot make great teachers available in every town, every village, every place for all subjects. So it allows a lot of flexibilities from that aspects also. It reduces cost of learning, and these learnings are covered very, very properly through internet. So I personally think that it is going to help a lot in all domains. But at some point, I have reservations that if internet is equal to only online classes, that's not the best use of internet. That's using it just more like a video conferencing, and for delivering less effective lectures, because mostly it is a one-way communication. Like you and I are talking freely, right? But if you look at the online classes, only 2 or 3 students talk. Rest of them are not sure even if they are in the class. Many of them play games. Many of them are on their WhatsApp or whatever. So we have to, I'm not saying that everything is positive. I'm saying there are a lot of positives. Some of the things we have to take caution. That's all.
This shift towards virtual education, we all saw that it even became challenging for parents and children to adapt to. But we have also seen the upside of that, how beneficial it is. So, what will be your message to the parents who still have reservations about this drastic change of education, and probably what should be they take away from this, that it is something which will be beneficial for their kids probably, and this is the new way of learning and growing in life.
So, I mean, first of all, I would request all the parents to realize that future is with the technology, not without technology, right? Now, how many of them will go to railway station to book a ticket, right? How many of them will, book their travel tickets, their hotels by actually calling to some agent, right? Now, if you speak about tier one and tier two towns, even clothings, whiteboards, food, even healthcare consultations, everything the technology is going to play a role, and this is a unidirectional. It is not going to reverse. Technology has always gone towards being more effective, more efficient, more helpful for the humanity at large over last few hundred years. And obviously, from the invention of telephone to now, where we are talking about completely AI supported, machine learning supported technologies, which can design our clothes with our proper dimensions, our liking, match our physique with the right design, etc., etc. It has come down to that level. So technology is good and also unavoidable. So, but at the same time, I also like to have a right balance. So obviously, more screen time in the formative years is negative from the social skills point of view, interpersonal skills point of view. It takes away the physical activity time, which is not good in the long term. So we should adopt technology in the right way. Obviously, for the students, limited exposure in terms of hours. And parents should also become partner in their students' growth. I mean, suppose I, as a parent, get to know exactly what chapter my son or daughter has not practiced at all, not even one question, or if I get to know which chapter he is struggling, so I can give exact help that, okay, this chapter I will teach you, or this chapter I can request the teacher to teach again, or this chapter I can tell you to practice more, or this chapter I can tell you to revise again because your accuracy is not good. Right. So overall, I think technology is getting unavoidable because it is good, but at the same time the caution about time, how much time you do spend on it, what is the mode. I mean, are you spending a lot of time on other things, because technology is also video games, mobile games, everything, right? Or you're just watching YouTubes for 6 hours a day. All this is not the right thing, because teenagers are the time when you build your future from many ways. So parents should be open. They should use the technology in the right way, just like every other activity in their life, but obviously have some control where they can focus on doing the right things.
That's surely one interesting takeaway, and I'm sure parents have a really tough task here to think about all these things and evaluate the benefits and how they can actually transform their child's life with this kind of education. So, thank you so much, sir, for joining us today on this Education Founder series. And it's great to see the work that you are doing. And I'm sure it is enabling a lot of people in the education space, and definitely the insights that you shared about the internet, how it is influencing the education sector, and the whole role of technology in it. It is something which has been really insightful for us, and I'm sure our viewers have a lot to ponder over with respect to how they approach education. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Saurabh. Thanks, Hindustan Times team. Thank you.